Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second edition of Talking About Stuff. Before we start, I was challenged by some of my viewers about the outfit on the first edition. Now, to give a bit of context, on that day, the podcast was filmed in my apartment. It was plus 35 outside with the humidity, it was maybe like plus 40. So, Ken, my guest, was a bit of a hero wearing the outfit that he wore. Now, for this one, for today, I actually challenge my guest today, Alexandru, to find his best beach underwear and wear that. So then I would look good. But unfortunately, he said no. So my guest today is Alexandru Christian Matei. He's a mortgage broker for over 8 years. He's a good friend of mine. He helped me a lot when I first came to Canada back in 2011. A great friend. But I would like him to start telling his story about who he is right now.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for inviting me and congratulations on your second edition. I think it's fantastic what you're trying to do, and hopefully, many viewers moving forward. To start to say a few things about me, I would say I was, first of all, I would ask you, how long do we have? A couple of hours, or so
Whatever
yeah.
it takes.
My name is Alexandru Cristian Matei. I am a mortgage broker currently. I started. To tell you a little bit about my history, I started a high school in Sinaia where I graduated, and I moved on to Bucharest in Romania, where I used to study tourism economics. I was always my dream was to go and study abroad, and in my third year I got scholarship, and I went to James Madison University for 1 year. I studied there where I was working with Marriott hotels as well. It was fantastic, I would say, fantastic, unique experience. I mean, at that time, if you remember Ceausescu, we didn't have an opportunity to go
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
and
back in the days.
yeah. So after that, I went back to Romania. I graduated from university, and I started teaching at the university. I was teaching there for 5 years. Tourism economics, hotel management, and a couple of other subjects on tourism. And also, I got another scholarship in England where I study about Hilton Hotels Corporation. It was fantastic as well. We moved back. I moved back to Romania after a couple of months, and then I decided to leave Romania and move to Canada. And about 16 and a half years ago, I moved to Canada. It was a great experience. I mean, I was still in the hotel business. I became a general manager for a few Hilton hotels here in Canada, and my last job with the hotels were with Marriott hotels. I was a general manager of one of the Marriott properties in Toronto. It was fantastic because I could, I could see myself as a, as a good, executive for Hilton and Marriott. And in that day, I remember we got so many. Awards with Hilton. I got the General Manager of the Year in 2010. It was fantastic because I didn't expect it, but I won it so bad. I mean, I worked so hard, all my life, I would say, since I was 16 to achieve that. I got married. I have a beautiful family, two boys. My wife Christina, I love them so much,
Hi,
and
Christina.
and I would say, it's the greatest thing that happened in my life. So 8 years ago, I mean, I would say more than 8 years ago, but 8 years ago, I moved on to being a mortgage broker, and this is what I do. I love, I enjoy every second. I can spend time with my family. That was the main objective.
Nice, nice, great introduction, Alexander. Thank you for sharing those information. So you're talking about the switch about 8 years ago. What determined you to make the switch from a general manager in the hotel industry to a mortgage broker?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be one of the best, whatever I did, and I succeeded many times. As I mentioned, I got so many awards with the hotels, and uh, you know, it was fulfillment for me. And what I really wanted to do, I wanted to spend time with my family. And as a general manager, as probably many of you gotta work 15 hours a day sometimes, every weekend, every long weekend, every Christmas and New Year, and
Yeah.
it's great. It's no problem with me, but I wanted to spend time with the boys. Once the boys came, I said I really want to do something on my own. I want to use my my connections, my math, my math knowledge, because I was very good in budgeting in hotels. So I said, what can I do, so I can continue in a way, but on a self-employment opportunity. And I study real estate, and I realized, Canada is 50% based on real estate.
Yeah,
Economy is
that's
based on
true.
real estate. So that's where I made the switch, and I decided to.
Yeah, it's totally understandable and great path you chose. So let's start basically talking about mortgage. So my first question would be, what is the difference between a mortgage broker and a direct bank mortgage?
Well, the big difference, between a mortgage agent, mortgage broker, and a bank is, the opportunity we offer. Basically, we offer many lenders. We offer services that usually banks don't offer, like the fact that we can go to TD, Scotiabank, MCAP, First National, and many other lenders. A bank, when you walk into a bank, they can all offer their package. Plus, I would say the biggest difference is we work for the clients. When you walk into a bank, the bank representative doesn't really work for you. They work for the bank. They get paid by the bank every day. Either they close a mortgage or not. We have to work hard to make sure that the clients are happy, so we get rewarded as well from different lenders or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you. So is there a fee for your services then?
I would say, well, I will answer in two ways. If I send a file to an A lender, usually every single time we get paid by the lenders. Of course, we chose the lender together with the client if we get that chance, and there is that opportunity. But we do charge a fee depending on, if it's a B or a private lender. And I always disclose that fee if we have to go that route.
Okay, as my second question would be, what is the difference between pre-approvals and approvals?
Well, there is always that myth that if you get a pre-approved, a lot of people think that they're good to go. They go, they buy a house, and they expect you to get their approval, final approval. Now, with the banks and lenders, usually the way it works is pre-approval is based on income, down payment, and credit history. Now, the final approval is based on a property. So now, when a client purchase a property, they have to go through that route, income, down payment, and and the credit. But the challenge is, in many cases, is the bank gonna approve the property? Because I've seen it before where banks walk away from the property and the client had to go a different route, that the route that wouldn't go otherwise. So.
Okay, this actually answers another question: of how does the mortgage approval process works?
Correct.
Now, people will also ask, because technically there's two types of mortgages: a fixed or a variable. So probably depending on the case, what are your suggestions on this?
Well, I always take it based on the client perspective. I always ask questions, how long do you want to be in the house for? Do you want a rental property in the future and you want to sell this, or you want to sell this property? So depending on that situation, I suggest which route is best for them to go, and then obviously they make the final decision. But as a as a history in Canada, the variable worked perfectly for many of the clients as long as you kept it for 20-25 years. But it depends. It really depends, especially nowadays where we don't know what's going to be in a year from now. It's hard.
Of course, yeah. And some clients may also ask if, and I know they take the loan on 25 or maybe even 30 years, but what if they want to pay within 5 or 10 years? They get a better job, or let's say they win the lottery. Uh, what can happen then?
Well, absolutely. Every lender has a prepayment privilege, and some starts at 10%, 15%, 20% per year. So, for example, you get a $500,000 mortgage, you can pay every year up to 10% or 15 or 20. So you have that option. I mean, some clients, they say to me, I don't want the 30 years. They get scary that they're 45 and they don't really want a 30 years. But obviously, through that prepayment privilege, you can actually pay a mortgage within 5-10 years, no problem. It really depends on how clients are.
Okay, thank you. So on the same topic, why can a small interest rate can be a big trap in case there's a big penalty uh, when you break the mortgage? Because some people are happy that they get like a really low rate, but then once they break it, they realize they have to pay a lot more than that they were expecting to
Yeah,
pay.
unfortunately, this is what happens with the big banks. I mean, as you all know, we do work with them, and sometimes we have to, put clients with the big banks. We deal with the head offices, but the biggest challenge with that is, if we can qualify the client somewhere else, we have to use one of the big banks. If we do that, and in 3 years they decide to break the mortgage, where sometimes the penalty can be steep, because that's how it happens with them. Institutional
Yeah, yeah.
lenders though are different, like a couple of other MCAP, First National, and many other. Their prepayment privilege are sorry, the penalty usually is pretty low compared with them. I would say 3 times less, sometimes
Oh,
more.
okay.
Yeah,
It's a big difference, yeah.
yeah.
So, another question probably we should have started with that also is what closing cost should I budget for? Like,
So usually when we submit the file to any lender, they ask for a proof of 1.5% from the total purchase price. Now, a lot of clients, and especially first-time buyers, they ask me, do I really have to pay that $20,000? And the answer is no, because they get rebates back, especially when you're first-time buyer. But even for a second-time buyer, I would say 1.5% needs to be proof. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's right on.
uh,
So yeah, I would say the answer is 1.5 on the purchase price.
okay. So, when is the best time to refinance the mortgage?
Well, I would say whenever, not in the first few months. Usually banks don't
Yeah,
don't like that. I mean, lenders don't like that. And I would say, and you may not even qualify, because if you go up to 80% and then you try to refinance within a few months, sometimes it not work. It's not work it. But during this pandemic, where the prices could go to 20% in a few months, it's a possibility. But many lenders don't do that. The answer to your question would be, whenever the client has some debt, or they need to, some clients, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on their situation, they divorce, and then they decide
yeah,
to
break the mortgage.
refinance and pay off the partner. So yeah, those cases.
Yeah, so basically they can make extra payments. You're mentioning that they can do 10, 15, 20, depending on the lender or the bank,
Correct.
but they can even pay less than that, right? If they don't have it. But
Yeah, they can only pay the mortgage payment, whatever it's set for, 1,500 a month, and that's it.
and how about the minimum down payment? I think it's 5%, but what are your suggestions within 5 to 20% range?
Yeah, I would say, if especially for a first time buyer, minimum 5-10%. It's advisable if they don't have enough income. But I always suggest, if you do have, sorry, not income, if you don't have enough down payment. But I always suggest, if you have enough down payment, put 20%, so you can save the insurer. You can save 20-30 thousand, depending on the purchase price as well.
I see. So when they come to you and they ask, how long is the interest rate hold good for? So for how long they can
So
qualify for
most
that
most
rate?
lenders, yeah, that's a good question. Most lenders, I would say 3 months, 6 months. Sorry, 3 months, 4 months. A lot of clients, they buy, a new build, and they ask for 2-3 years. In most cases, banks don't do that, but there is a opportunity there for sure. Yeah.
And is the mortgage portable?
Yeah, most mortgages are portable. Now, mind you, depending on a lender and depending on a client situation, the lender can decide, if the mortgage will be portable or not. And that's an interesting thing, because years back, I mean, I would say all mortgages were portable. Now I've seen situations where they won't let you, because of a good rate. They won't let you port the mortgage, and a lot of clients, they just go by the rate,
I,
That's all,
I
and then they
see.
can get hit on other things.
Now, also talking about the rate, how much does it cost to lock in a fixed rate with a variable mortgage?
Oh, so a lot of clients choose to go variable, and then when they notice that the variable increases, the prime, Bank of Canada changes the prime and then increases, and then they decide to move to a fixed. It's a one-time phone call technically to a lender or to the bank, and say, I would like to lock in my mortgage for a remaining term. And they usually, a lot of people think that it's the previous fixed rate where they lock in the variable, but
Hmm.
it's not. It's the current, whatever the current fixed rate the lender has. So
I see. So when do you advise the clients to waive the condition on financing?
usually, well, yeah, it's a good question, I would say. I usually talk to the clients and try to get them a financing conditions, because now it's a tough market where a lot of clients don't want to do that. But my suggestion is do that because it's in your best interest, and I think should be in a best interest of the realtors, of everyone. Just because the biggest challenge with that is what happens if you don't get a financing and the bank says no to the house. You have to buy the house because
Yeah,
they find something that they don't like when
and
the
sue
appraisal
you.
goes in. So then you have to buy the house. Now the realtor is fine with that because at the end of the day the client chose this, but I like to advise them. And I would say after a couple of days, we revise the income and down payment and the credit, and the home appraisal goes in. Once those are looked at by the bank and the bank or lender, and the lender advises that the conditions are satisfied, I tell the client you're good to go.
Okay. So how do the property appraisal work? And many people would like to know about that.
Yeah, as many of you know, I would say if you buy a property under 20% down payment, I know a lot of clients think, oh yeah, I don't need to do an appraisal. Now, it's true in some situations, but there's about 99% where the insured wants to send in the appraisal. Obviously, the client doesn't pay for the appraisal; the insurer pays, but they decide to do that. It happened to me a few times actually. Uh, uh, but if you put a 20% down payment, most lenders will ask for an appraisal. Not all the time, but you 50-50, I would say now. And the appraisal, the way it works, it's ordered by the broker or by the bank, and then a client gets a phone call. Client pays, appraiser goes in, takes the photos, goes back, does a report, sends it to the lender or the bank, and then we know what's the purchase price or the refinance price.
I see. So if a new client would come to you and ask, how long is the approval process take?
You would be surprised. I mean, in sometimes I can get it within an hour. I mean, it's
Nice.
unbelievable how fast we can work with our partners at the bank level or the lenders level. But in some cases, it could be a couple of days. So it's never a 100%. It's going to be an hour or 5 days.
I
So.
see. Um, so I wanted to ask, what makes you different? Like if someone would like to choose you, what why would they come to you instead of going to a bank or another broker?
Yeah, I mean, I pride myself by advising the client the way I would advise myself and my family, which I would say is not a good business model to follow, because I mean it's good for me, I like it, but most brokers, I would say most lenders don't do that. They look at the business, you help the client, you close a file, that's it, you move on, you make some money, they are happy, done. The way I like to see it is I would advise the client the way I would advise my family when they take a mortgage, and I've been very successfully with that. I mean, definitely you lose some clients in that process because some clients don't like to be told what the reality, and they believe they're right, and then you just move on. But I think the fact that I put a lot of passion, I study a lot about mortgages every day. I have a good brokerage, and I love it.
Right, Alexander. So when do a client come to you?
Well, usually, clients come to us when, I mean, as mortgage brokers myself, when they need to purchase a house, or their time for renewing comes, or, either, they go into a situation where they have to pay some debt, and then we work on consolidating their, debt into the new mortgage, and, from different situations, from any situation. We have clients 55 plus. I have clients 55 plus. They come and they really want to stay in the house. I work with the realtor. We keep them in the house for as long as they want to stay, and then we'll sell the house. When we do that, in those situations, some clients cannot pay the mortgage, so what we do for them is, okay, you want to stay in the house for a year or two or three, we put them in a reverse mortgage. With the way I mean, many clients, uh, they get back a little bit when they hear about the reverse, but it's an advantage for a client that wants to stay in the house. They don't pay any mortgage payments for the remaining of their stay, 1 or 2, 3, 4 years, depending how long they want to stay. When they sell, they basically, pay off the mortgage and the interest that accumulates to the mortgage. And the home, it's their home. It's not the bank's home, because we get that question often. Do I still own my home? Absolutely, it's the same as the other mortgages. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So now people would like to know about your success story. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, I pride myself by working hard for the clients, and in many cases, I have clients. They go to a bank, and then they get approvals, and they get a pre-approval for 1.5 million dollar home. They go back to the bank when they purchase the home, and the bank says no to them. Um, what I do is I look at their situation. I try to help them my best, and I usually do get successful and get them that mortgage. So I would say, in that situation, I'm a hero for the client, because the client is not impressed anymore with what happened at the bank level, and they come to me, and it's funny enough, I send it to a different a different lender, a different bank head office, where they get approved. So it really depends how you package the mortgage and how you send it up to based on the income and the down payment and the credit. But yeah, that's one. I mean, if you ask me a most recent one, it was a couple of months ago. I got a referral from one of the lawyers I work with, and it's funny enough. It's the first time when I saw. I mean, I wouldn't say funny, but the first time when I saw a bank refusing renewing the mortgage for the client. The client
Okay,
had only
that's
two
new. Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, the client had only 2 weeks to renew. Most lenders said no, because there is no much time. I was successfully not only approving but done within those 2 weeks. The client was absolutely shocked. He couldn't believe. He actually referred me to other clients since then. But the lawyer was really impressed. The lawyer that referred the client, because he never saw it coming. Everyone was hoping for it, but yeah, that was amazing. Even
Yeah,
for
it's the
for
work of
any.
a true hero,
Yeah.
of course.
Thank you.
So, from where do you get your business?
Well, mainly we get it from, definitely from the realtors, because realtors are main source for mortgage brokers. But I have many contacts, many friends throughout my life here in 16 and a half years of being in Canada, and from my clients. I would say, clients has been a great thing. And another source for the last few years is Facebook. I mean, I don't do a lot of advertising, but I'm part of a couple of groups in Facebook where I get very good clients, and I help them as much as I can with not only my getting their mortgage done, but in some cases some advice, and then they're impressed. They actually ask me, so what do you get out of this? And I say, well, right now I get nothing, but I get I get you in the future, and that means a lot to me, that you came to me and asked for an advice.
I see. Okay, so now to conclude the talk about mortgage, what would be your best advice for someone that would like mortgage in any situation?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I would say first thing, go to a broker. I mean, obviously, you can go to a bank, you can go to, a credit union, but I would say go to a broker. They can not only get the right mortgage for you, but they can get you in some cases a better rate, and it's definitely better for yourself. You're not doing your credit history touched a few times. If you walk into any bank right now, they're gonna do your credit each time. You come to me, it's done once.
Yeah, it's
And
not
it's a
effective.
benefit for the client. Obviously, a lot of the questions that I get, and I wanna end with this. A lot of questions I get is, what happens if you do the credit once and in 30 days you do it twice? Usually, it's not a huge hit. The biggest challenge is when people, come to me, they get an approval or a pre-approval, and then I check their credit, and then they go to Leon's, for example, and they get a $30,000 furniture,
Appliances, yeah,
appliances,
yeah.
or whatever, and then it's another hit, and then they go to the bank, and the bank says, oh, I have a great credit card for you, and then you take that, another hit on a credit. That's where the problem comes in place, for not when check once or twice with a broker. That's not a big issue.
I see. Thank you very much. And this would conclude the discussion about mortgage. Now,
My
on
pleasure.
the second subject, I know something that you like is about the current situation. So, what are your general thoughts about COVID-19, and how did it impacted your family? Because we've been through this for over a year and a half now.
Well, I think everyone has his own opinion, and it's a good thing to do that, because we are living in a free country, and I think the right to be free and the right to have a freedom, it's important to many of us. I mean, we moved from Romania and
Yeah.
from different other countries to get a better life, to get choices and options. COVID has been it's interesting, because I'm not sure how should I say it, but COVID has been fantastic for me and my family in a way, because my business went very, I mean, my business was going up anyway, but it was, you
So
know
2020 was a good year,
it
right?
was a fantastic year, yeah, from that stand. I mean, my business just boom. Plus, I could spend more time with the kids, with my wife. We all work from home. I mean, it's been fantastic. We try to definitely respect the rules, and because I think it's important to protect yourself and protect others. I think yeah. I think it's been great from that sense. It's been sad to see that many people die, but I've seen this with many other influenza cases, flu cases. I mean, if everyone wants to go on CDC or any other websites, legit websites, they can notice that many hundreds and thousands of people die every year from many flus, which is disappointing. But nobody actually
Talks about it, yeah.
talks about it. And now
I
COVID
see.
came, everybody talks about COVID. It's yeah.
So I don't know if you heard the news, but recently the provincial government of Ontario would like to introduce a vaccine passport. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's I've always been respectful to the laws and regulations, because I think it's key. It's a little bit disappointing in a sense of in my personal view, in a sense of not giving people a right to choose, or a right to make a decision on themselves when it comes to
To their
taking a
body.
vaccine. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that we have some rules in place, but I look at the numbers this year. I think we are about 80% fully vaccinated in Canada, close to 80%, and the numbers are going up. And I think the blame is on unvaccinated people. But my question to all of us is, last year we're 0% vaccinated. We have the same amount of cases. Who did we blame them? So it's a tricky one. I would say vaccine passport, it could be a big challenge in the future. I mean, if you look at kids under 12 years, they're not vaccinated. I'm sure a lot of parents probably won't want to do the
Yeah,
vaccines
they're
on
too
them.
young maybe.
They're too young. From statistics point, I understand many of the kids, if not all of them, they're develop a very short form, 1 or 2 days, get sick. So it's an interesting. I'm not sure how that's gonna develop, but I think we have elections, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have another wave, like a fourth wave, the way people think about, especially with the kids being back to school next week. Hopefully we'll get through this and
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
we'll
we'll
come
get
back
through
to
this.
a
Yeah.
sort of normal life like it was before beginning of 2020. So thank you very much for being my guest today, Alexandru. It was great talking to you. My big pleasure. And just at the end, I would like to let you all know that I forgot to do it on the first edition, but I will definitely do it here as a combo. I will link in the description Alexandru's details, his email and his phone number. Same with Ken, so that way you have a great combo of a realtor and a mortgage broker that can definitely help you in your situation when you're trying to purchase a house, refinance, or any situation related to the housing market.
Yeah, hold on a second, Alex. You putting me with Ken? What's going on? Hi, Ken.
Come on, you
We gotta tease him, huh?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
yeah.
here. What?
Well, we're all part of the HTBL, and actually, I like to take this opportunity to see if there's people that would like to be part of this great group in the Halton district. We're looking also for professionals that would like to be part of the hot and trusted business list. So thank you very much for watching. Looking forward for the third edition as well. Thank you, Alexandru.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, and thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your support
All right,
always.
take care.